These are dark times, there can be no doubt. The land is barren, empty. Troubled times need a savior. You need hope. You need a Quispy Flicks top 10 movie list to watch at home in quarantine.
That's right, everyone.
How about that?
How about that? Welcome back to Quispy Flicks. This is a bit different to what we usually do. If you're new, we usually review movies. So if you're into that, why not subscribe and give us a like and a cheeky little comment to say what films from this list you're going to watch or have already watched. How about that then? Right, do you want to start off then? I'll let you go first.
I'm going to go with my number one, Fight Club.
Motherfucker! You hit me in the ear!
Well, Jesus, I'm sorry.
Ow! Christ! Why the ear, man?
I fucked it up.
Fight Club is a really interesting film. It takes place in like a contemporary city, and it follows Jack, who is a insomniac who's disenfranchised with his job. He pretty much hates everything about his life and is in a rut. And he's stuck in this awful capitalist scheme that's just making money off of people and treating all the workers like objects, until he meets a guy called Tyler Durden, who encourages him to start a fight club. And he's got this kind of anarchist mentality to this whole system that is like really beating Edward Norton character down. It's absolute masterclass of a film. It never gets boring watching it over and over again, and you see new things with each rewatch. Highly recommend Fight Club. It's one of my favourites.
And we also have a clip of it over on our Instagram if you want to just have a little taster.
Yeah, we do.
A little taster just before you go into it. Go give that a watch. I'll leave the link in the description. My turn?
Yep, sure, man.
You have got to watch Watchmen.
Please. If everyone would just go away and leave me alone. I said, leave me alone!
Watchmen is my favourite comic book of all time. And it's my favourite live-action comic book movie of all time. It's basically set in an alternate reality where America and Russia are nearly coming to blows during the Cold War. And the world's there's riots going on. There's not a lot of peace going on. Ozymandias, Adrian Veidt, comes up with a plan to resolve the world's peace, to get rid of all the riots and war going on in the world and bring the whole world together on one side. And it's just basically following each hero, trying to figure out what's going on, what his plan is. And it's really well made film. The soundtrack is amazing. The cinematography is amazing, and there's actually some changes to this movie which make it a better story. The whole plan for world peace is changed slightly in the film, but me and you think it's a better version than the book anyway.
Oh yeah,
because the book version is very, very goofy. But
even though it got slated.
What the film?
The movie did, yeah.
Nah, the film version of this world peace plan is a lot better. It's an R-rated superhero movie that came out in 2008. It's absolutely brutal, and it didn't do too well back then, because back then who really cared about R-rated superhero movies as much as we do now?
True.
So go give that a watch, as it is fantastic.
Yeah, and for my second film, I've chosen Blade Runner. Blade Runner is a dystopian cyberpunk thriller set in an alternate version of 2019. The story follows Rick Deckard, who is played by Harrison Ford, as he ruthlessly hunts down a group of very dangerous replicants who are really like robots. The cinematography is incredible. The set design is just unreal for the time it was made. And the score is just like beautiful and sad. But this film is one of the greatest sci-fi films ever made. If you haven't watched it, you definitely need to, at least once. Definitely give Blade Runner a watch.
For my next one, I'm going with Upgrade, directed by Lee Whannell.
Thank you.
Okay, Stem, what are we doing, man?
Just relax.
Now let me tell you something. I love this movie. It is about a guy called Gray who gets jumped, gets paralyzed from the neck down, and a scientist comes along and says, "I can help you walk again. I can help you get back to where you were." And when he gets mugged, his wife also gets killed. He's a quadriplegic with not a lot to live for. You know, he's quite miserable, and it shows this really well. And this scientist comes along and says, "I can help you. I can help you walk again. Think about what your wife would want." And he implants this chip into his neck, helps him walk. But what he doesn't know is the chip's got a mind. It's got its own mind. Not only can it help him walk again, but it helps him track down the guys that killed his wife. The fight sequences are unbelievable.
Cool.
Oh man, I showed you this, and you was in shock at the fight scenes.
Absolutely gobsmacked.
I've never seen anything like it. It's brutal. The choreography is fantastic, and the camera movements. Oh, don't get me started on the camera movements. Absolutely fantastic. It's just a action flick. You know, the story's not too deep, although there is a cool twist at the end, so keep an eye out for that. But other than that, it's just a fun action flick that you're definitely gonna enjoy.
Okay, for my next pick, I've got Dread.
Defense noted.
Dread takes place in a post-apocalyptic world inside the walls of Megacity 1 and follows the story of Judge Dredd, who takes a new kind of rookie cop under his wing as he aims to shut down a huge cartel, a huge gang that have taken over this huge, unbelievably big tower block. And it's really the story of them just fighting their way through this gauntlet of enemies, killing them with whatever means they can. The gore in this is just fantastic. There's some really like nasty moments in this, and it's just a great film with a really simple premise.
Yeah,
and you should definitely give it a watch if you enjoy action films. I'd even go as far to say as Dread is one of the most simple films I've ever seen.
It's just they have to make it to the top.
Yep, that's it.
And fight. But it's so cool. My next pick is The Lighthouse, starring Robert Pattinson and Willem Dafoe. Now let me tell you something. So The Lighthouse follows Thomas Howard and Thomas Wake. They are two lighthouse keepers that are working in a lighthouse on a island by themselves. And the premise is quite simple, really. It's just them trying to stay sane whilst trapped on this island for a long period of time with just them, because the island's kind of cramped, the lighthouse is kind of cramped, and it's just them just trying to stay sane, and it just shows how their mentality goes down as time goes on. I really like this film. The sound, you know, it's just so good. The way it's shot, it's shot in black and white. The lighting is all natural lighting, so there's no artificial like ring lights or big set lights. It's all natural lighting. It's just
so good.
It's such a simple movie, but the performances are unbelievable. I don't know how to explain it to do it justice. You need to go watch it. It's fantastic. So go watch that. You will not regret it.
For my next pick, I've got Shutter Island with Leonardo DiCaprio, and it was directed by Martin Scorsese.
But we're here to talk about Rachel Solando, okay?
Rachel Solando. Do you know that she drowned her own kids? She drowned her kids. This is a sick fucking world we live in, I'll tell you that. You know what? They should be gassed. All of them. The retards, the killers, the niggers. You kill.
The film takes place with Teddy Daniels going to a asylum called an asylum on Shutter Island, this remote location. It's very lonely, to search for a missing inmate named Rachel Solando. But all is not as it seems in the island. There's a lot of twists, a lot of turns. You're never really sure of what's going on, and the movie hits you with one of the best plot twists I think I've ever seen in any movie.
It's fantastic.
It is absolutely unbelievable. It's a Scorsese film that doesn't get spoken about too much, and you should definitely give it a watch, because I think that it'll appeal to a lot more people than, say, Raging Bull or some of his other works. It's really an odd one for him to direct, but it's so welcome. It's such a nice change for a director that's mostly been known for doing mafia films.
Yeah. My next pick is my favourite horror movie of all time, Hereditary.
Fine, release me. Just say it. Just fucking say it.
Don't you swear at me, you little shit! Don't you ever raise your voice at me! I am your mother! Do you understand? All I do is worry and slave and defend you, and all I get back is that fucking face on your face!
Now, if you want to get spooked, this is the movie for you. Most, modern horror films rely on jump scares and cheap, loud noises. You know what I mean? Like jump scares with like it's just loud noise. This film is a lot more than just scares, right? The performances are unbelievable. Yeah, Toni Collette is absolutely fantastic in this. She just pours it out. It's unbelievable. It basically the matriarch of their family dies, and as time goes on, they start to unravel all these like secrets of their ancestry, and it gets kind of weird and fucked up as time goes on, and it's just really like the mother. She just goes in a downward spiral. It's really good. It's shot really, really well. The score is just chilling. That's the only word I can say. It's really good, and I'm actually thinking of I might watch it later. I don't think you've watched it, have you?
No, I'm planning on it. I've got a lot of time on my hands, so
it's just my favourite horror movie. And if you're if you like horror movies and you haven't seen this, what are you doing? Get watching. You're in lockdown, nothing else to do. Get spooked with this film.
And for my final pick, I also have a horror film that you might have heard of, and it's Stanley Kubrick's The Shining.
Never heard of it.
Here's Johnny.
The Shining it's limiting to just say that The Shining is a good horror film.
Yeah.
The Shining is a great piece of cinema.
Yeah.
Everything in this, and there's been so many documentaries about the lengths that Stanley Kubrick went to make this film happen, and it's worth it. He once described every frame of the film looking like a painting, made exactly the way he wanted to make it.
Yeah.
And the effect is unbelievable. The tone, the story is just out of this world, and it's a superb watch for any fans of cinema and horror as well.
Mm-hmm.
It's got no jump scares in it. It is just a suspenseful, tense build-up of a film, which blows up right at the last few minutes of it. Brilliant film. It takes place with a family journeying to a remote hotel to look after it in the off-season, and maybe there is something in the hotel that doesn't want them to be there.
And for my final pick, I'm going with... So we've been talking about movies that are just fantastically made. You know, they're masterpieces. And you can kind of fit this film in. The Velocipasta is my final pick for top movies to watch in quarantine.
Carol, hello.
Oh.
God damn you, Carol. How many fucking times I have to tell you not to question what I do? Now, what's my name?
Frankie Mermaid.
And why is my name Frankie Mermaid? Speak up, Carol, so I'm gonna give you the fucking boot!
Cause you're swimming in bitches.
I'll tell you why. You may be thinking, I've never heard of this movie. It sounds shit. So the whole premise is, it follows a priest called Doug, what's his name? Doug Jones, I think.
Doug Jones,
yeah. And his parents die in a tragic explosion. So he travels to China to take his mind off it, where God can't reach him, and he's just by himself trying to take his mind off things. And whilst in China, he inherits a magical power to turn into a dinosaur. He is initially scared of this magical power, but with the help of a hooker called Carol, she convinces him to use this power for the greater good and fight crime, and also ninjas. Now you may be thinking, Mason, that sounds terrible. You're absolutely correct, yes, but the humour...
Also wrong.
It's funny. It's a low-budget movie that knows it's low budget. I'm not going to go into it too much. We've done a review on it if you want to check it out. I'll leave the link down below. But if you're looking for a self-aware, low-budget movie that is hilarious, you have to watch this movie. I highly recommend. Watch the review before watching if you don't want to, commit 1 hour and 10 minutes out of your life. It's only a short movie, and it's fun. So go watch it.
Absolutely, it's so good.
So good. That was the first ever Crispy Flicks Top 10 list. Top 10 movies to watch during quarantine. We hope you enjoyed. If you're still here, check out our other stuff and subscribe if you are new. That's it, really.
Thanks a lot, guys, and see you next time.
See you later, boys. Bye.